The really cool thing about working with threads in Python is you already understand the concept of it. You create a bunch of workers and give them a bunch of jobs. But the awesome thing is you don't need to specify, hey, this thread needs to do that job. That thread needs to do this job. All you do is you create like X amount of workers. Let's say we're going to have 8. And then as long as they have jobs, they're going to start doing those jobs automatically. It's freaking fantastic. And I'll show you guys how awesome it is. So we'll say create worker threads. And these threads, by the way, they're going to die. I'll say will die when main exits. So again, you know how whenever you're running your program, it's going to take like 1 or 2 minutes, depending on the size of your website. If you're like, all right, well, something went wrong and I'm just going to close out of this, but crap, now I got a bunch of threads running in the background. Have to probably go into command line and stop those. Well, the cool thing is I'm going to set this up where if you ever want to terminate your main program, then it's going to call all of the spiders as well. So pretty cool. So dev create workers, and you can name this create spiders or create threads or whatever you want to do. And the reason I like naming it create workers is because I like just giving it a generic name, because then whenever I'm making other programs, I can just copy all of these and pretty much just paste them in and change like one line of code. So, pretty much just for laziness. So all we're doing in this is we're creating 8 generic spiders. So I'll say for underscore in range number of threads. So if you want to create 8, write 8. If you want to create 16, write 16. Since we're going to let the user specify earlier, I'm just going to write number of threads right there. And if you guys are like, whoa, why did you write your variable as an underscore instead of like X or num or anything like that? Well, usually you have a variable right here like X whenever you want to do something with this value. So this is just going to be equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. However, I'm not using that number in like a formula or an algorithm or anything. I just want to loop through 8 times and create my threads. I really don't care what that is. So the convention is whenever you need to do that, just write an underscore, and it kind of disregards that value. And it lets you, continue using a range for loop, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to loop through this 8 times. And what do we want to do each time? Well, we just want to create a thread. So I'm going to make a variable called t. And how do you create a thread? Just call the threading module thread. And whenever you call this thread class, the one thing that you need to pass in is a target. So you're making a worker. What is this worker supposed to do? And that's the last function that we're going to create. And that's just going to say work. Now, again, we didn't create it yet, so that's why it's giving us an error. But all we're doing is we're going to create 8 workers. And the only thing that they can do is this function right here, which is work. So whatever we put in there is actually going to be the job of the thread. So pretty cool. Now, this is optional, but I actually want to make it a daemon. And again, that is just ensuring that it runs as a daemon process and it's going to die whenever the main exits. And the last thing you need to call for your thread whenever you create it is start. So now we have one more function to create, which is actually work. Because right now, what essentially we did is we created like 8 workers and they're just standing in the factory and are like, what am I supposed to do now? And of course we have the to-do list in our hand, but we need to be like, hey, do these things. So that's what we're going to do. So all this work function is going to do is do the next job in the queue. One day I'll learn how to type queue without having any typos. So work is going to be really simple. We're just going to set this equal to true. And what do you want each spider to do? Well, this is actually really easy. Just go ahead and grab one of these items from the list. And that's actually in your thread queue now. So URL equals queue.get. So it's going to get the next item from the thread queue, which is essentially one of these links. And now once you have those links that need to be crawled, just call spider.crawl page. And as you see, whenever I call crawl page, it takes 2 pieces of information. The the first one is just the name of the thread, and that's just so whenever we're running this program, we can display to the user thread 5 is crawling the forum, thread 8 is crawling the Bucky's profile page, whatever, and the second one is just the URL. So how do we get the name of the thread? Well, it's actually a cool piece of Python that's already built into the threading module, threading current thread name. So each thread already comes with a name, and you can name it something special if you want, but just keep the default name. And the URL is the page that we want you to crawl. And the last thing, the last line of code for this entire program is queue task done. Now again, whenever you have a spider, you give it some work, and whenever it's done with that job, it just needs to say, hey, I'm done working on it. And again, that just tells your operating systems that says, hey, I'm ready for the next job now, and it helps free up some memory if there aren't any more jobs. And again, all of this is taken care of behind the scenes with the threading and queue modules. But there you go. Essentially, all this program does, multi-threading wise, is it creates a bunch of workers, and then it creates a bunch of jobs, and these are the jobs. And as long as there are more items in the list, then your workers or threads are going to keep crawling. All right, now check it out. Actually said that was the last line, but we have 2 more lines, because if we just run this right now, we created all these functions, but we didn't even call them yet. So we just need to write first, what do you need to do? We need to create workers, because who the heck is going to crawl? Who the heck is going to do our work if we don't have any workers? And crawl, which pretty much means create your jobs or make your to-do list, whatever. And you can even keep this right now, but let me just go ahead and delete it. So check it out. Right now, I don't have any project directory. I don't have any of those files, nothing like that. However, when I run main, that first spider, let me go ahead and stop this right now. So that's what that first spider did. It crawled my homepage right here, and it said, hey, all right, I got 20 links in the queue. And then we created a bunch of little threads, and as long as we had jobs, items in the queue, they went and they did their thing. So each one got an item from the waiting list, crawled that page, and added it to the queue. So look at that. And now, in like, what was that? It was running for like 4 seconds maybe. All of these pages have already been crawled. So it already crawled 15 pages on my website, and it already discovered all of these links. Man, I can't even scroll with my middle wheel. All right, 861 more pages to look at. So this bad boy is fast, and it looks like it is working beautifully. And also, I posted all of this source code on my GitHub page. So if you guys just go to github.com/BuckyRoberts, make sure you follow me. I don't know, it's going to be somewhere around here. It's not there for me because I'm already logged in. Can't really follow myself. But if you click spider right here, or you can just type in this URL, then what you're going to see is here is all of the source code. Let me bump that down a little bit. You guys might be able to see a little bit better. And yeah, so I already have a bunch of people working. If you guys are like, you know what, this can be improved, that can be improved, then submit a pull request and I'll review it, and you know, it'll help out. So it's a pretty cool community project. It's actually getting really popular. I had no idea that, you know, a web crawler, so many people would actually use this and it would be this popular. But I just posted this a few days ago and it already has like 6 to 8 stars, 23 forks, bunch of people working on it. So yeah, thank you for everyone who's contributed. Thank you for everyone that will contribute in the future. And yeah, let's go ahead and make the best spider ever.